Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan. Today, we're going to be working with our sliders. That'll be our prop of the day for this workout. So take your sliders with you. If you don't have sliders, you can use paper plates about this size, or you can also use a pair of socks kind of rolled up, something that gives you a little bit of glide on the floor. So we're going to start with the bridge. So that means we're on our back. Before you lie down, let's put the sliders about 1 inch apart. We're going to place our feet, the heels, soles of the feet. You don't have to get the whole foot on the sliders. Just the big part of the foot is on the sliders. Keep the sliders quiet for the moment as you lie down on your back. Have a nice bend to the knees. And again, there's probably about 2 inches of space between our legs and our feet. So the arms are long and printed into the floor. Your goal here is to keep the sliders quiet, the legs still, as you lift those hips up into a high bridge position. And then soft and hard from chin, rolling down. Visualize and feel one vertebra at a time, leaving your mat or the floor. Let the tailbone land heavy at the end. Again, with those creases underneath the buttocks, you're going to float the hips up so there's no crease on the front side of your pelvis. And then create space between the vertebra as you soften heart away from the chin and roll down one vertebra at a time. Do that just one more time. Again, think of the pelvis as an elevator pressing right up. Visualize and feel you got a long straight line between the knees and the shoulders, a long diagonal. See that you haven't let your knees splay open. You've got that 2-inch spacing, that equal spacing between your knees and your feet the same. It's all good that you're feeling those hamstrings. That's what we're targeting right now. Beautiful. We're going to keep the pelvis neutral, but we're going to lower that pelvis down to a hover with a flat spine. And then we lift the hips right back up and then lower back down to a hover. Press right back up. But right now, we're going to be extra careful. We want to make sure that the sliders are quiet. Also feel the 10 toes absorbing into the floor. Feel the entire soles of the feet absorbing into the floor. We have a few more. Excellent. Let's inhale to float the hips up. Exhale, lengthen through the tailbone as you lower the pelvis to a hover. Let's do that one more time. Lift the hips up. This is our final bridge. We soften heart from chin. We're rolling down right down the middle of the spine. And our tailbone lands heavy at the end. Beautiful. We'll keep the feet where they're at. Good. You know, they want to stretch a little bit. So if you have to stretch, that's great too. But again, reset. Feet are about a couple inches apart. We're going to interlace those fingers, hands go behind the head. Watch when you take your hands behind the head that you don't suddenly let your rib basket flare out. Try to keep the ribs kind of melting into the abdominal wall. We're going to draw our chin gently to our chest, length through the crown of the head as you float the head and shoulder blades up. Gorgeous. And kind of find this nice crease existing right here, right beneath the sternum. That's how we keep our upper body in flexion. Let me move this arm for a moment. What we don't want to do is push our chin to the chest like this. This is actually not flexion, ideally. It's more just strain on the neck. So we have our hands behind the head. We're receiving the weight of our head with our hands. Your next exhale, you're going to lengthen through the crown of the head, back down, softly returning to start. We'll do that again, finding length and traction stretch through the top of the head, lifting up, keeping length on the front side of the body. Exhale, lengthen back down. And we're going to layer on from here. Good. So I'm going to move back a little bit so you guys can stay where you're at. As you peel up, simultaneously extend one leg straight. Keep that heel heavy on the slider. And then as you lower down, well, isn't that a blooper? I'm going to take my socks off. I feel like I'm going to have a better time with it. There we go. So pretend you didn't see that. So as you peel up, one leg extends straight. That's much better for me. As you lower down, you're bending that leg back down, returning to start. Let's alternate. So the other leg extends straight as you peel up. Now here's the dealio. You want to make sure your belt line stays level. We're not rocking into an anterior tilt in that pelvis. We're keeping that pelvis very steady and still. Gorgeous. So working this one-sided way, what's also known as moving unilaterally, we're going to really get into those crisscross core and abdominal muscles, okay? Gorgeous.
Try to just find that the upper body and the single leg move kind of in sync with one another. Excellent. Inhaling to peel up. Exhaling to take it down. Something to watch out for, just a couple more, is when you're doing this, you don't want to feel like your weight rocks to say one side of your pelvis or one half of your body more than the other. Good. We really won't feel the abdominal challenge if that happens. So keep your weight equal on both back sides of the pelvis, the same as you stretch one leg long. Good. Exhale, navel pulling in and up as you return. Why not do one more? We're going to bend us back the other way in just a moment. Inhale to peel up. Exhale to lower down. There you go. Nice. So let's grab the back of your thighs, rock yourself up to sitting. We're going to bend you back the other way. We're going to do a little bit of a mild extension. So we're going to lie down prone on the floor or on your mat. Okay, that's a fancy way of saying on your stomach. Good. And we're going to place our palms open like starfish on top of the disc or the sliders. Want to have our hands wide as your shoulders, and our hands are a little bit higher than our shoulders. The legs are a few inches apart, and we're going to just take a moment. Let your forehead rest on the floor. Keep your pubic bone really pressing firmly into the floor. That's going to help protect our lower back and help us articulate better through the upper spine. On our next inhale, we're going to keep the sliders quiet. Think of pushing a marble away with the tip of your nose. And just like we did in that last exercise, lengthen through the crown of the head. So you're going to float the head and sternum up. And not too high. We always have our bottom rib on the floor in this exercise. Toenails are heavy. On your next exhale, we're going to now reach through the crown of the head, reset the forehead on the floor. And when the forehead touches the floor, we can relax those shoulders completely. Let's try that again. Slide the scapula down. Scapula and shoulder blades are the same thing. Push an imaginary marble away with your nose. Touch the ears and toes, stretching away from one another. Now, I'm not really efforting through my arms to come up. Feeling those muscles between and below the shoulder blades more. Good. So we're getting that muscle group back here to work. Okay. This would be me doing arms, not as ideal. So again, we're keeping our arms kind of quiet at the moment. Okay? This is all going to build upon what's about to come next. One more time. Inhale. And then exhale, lower down. Okay, we're going to add on to this movement. We've got a good mastery of it, I think. Let's slide those shoulders down. Coming up, hold that elevation. You're going to stretch both arms long, light arms. Engage your armpit region muscles to bend those elbows. Feel those shoulders sliding down the back line of the torso as you draw those discs near where they started. The pubic bone stays pressing firmly into the floor. Inhale, we extend the arms without elevating the shoulder blades. Feel those shoulder blades plugging down a little more richly into the mid-back. Apply a little heavier pressure on the sliders as you draw the arms and hands back to where you started. Good, very nice. So we're moving the arms. There is some press on the sliders, but we're not hanging out in the shoulder joint. This is me kind of just hanging out in my shoulder joint. Not much going on in the mid-back. So make sure you feel that rich connection. Try your best. Slide the shoulders down towards the sacrum. That's what's going to cue your elbows to bend and draw back in towards your side. It's beautiful. Inhaling any way you want. I'm going to say client's choice. We can inhale as we stretch. I kind of like that breathing pattern. And then exhale. Draw your belly button, lift it off the floor a little bit as you breathe out, drawing those arms back to where they started. Keep the back of the neck long. I know you want to watch on the screen, but certainly watch out there. You're not overextending the neck bones. I'm doing it right now. This is incorrect. You can even hear how that changes the voice. So you want to keep the neck long, always a continuation of the rest of the spine. It's really cool if you're feeling those glutes a little bit too. Actually, let's go one more time. And draw those arms back in. And then let's just regroup. Excellent. We'll just take a little moment, go into a child pose. Tailbones curl under. We're going to curl under for that nice stretch. And we have some sideline work coming up next. So for this one, we're only going to use one slider. And that slider is going to go under your right foot for the moment. So we're going to be on our left hip, left forearm. We do want to take a moment and check in that we're not dropping our rib basket, collapsing our torso weight on top of this left arm. So let's take a moment, just really feel that arcing away from the floor of that bottom left rib basket. You'll notice that engages your waistline. You want to live there with that nice activation. Fantastic. I'm going to take that right hand onto your hip. Now, this bottom left hip, let's take a moment. Imagine this burlap sack is suspended from the ceiling, wrapped around your bottom left hip, and it's going to guide you up. Gorgeous. Now hold that lift from all this muscle group under here. You're going to do a little clock sweep. Sweep that right leg forward. Go through center. Keep your low abs supporting the stable lower back as your leg reaches slightly back. Inhaling as you sweep that leg forward. Exhaling as it comes back. You can layer on from there. You can give you a little turn out and then turn in. So you can see my foot is moving through parallel. Then I'm turning out the leg and foot slightly as the leg sweeps in front of me. I go back to parallel to the leg sweeps underneath me. And then from this hip, I'm turning in my leg and foot. Now that's going to create a lot more functionality at the hip, but that's just confusing you. Just keep the leg basically parallel. Feel that movement coming from the ball socket joint of the right hip, lots of length through the crown of the head, and still actively lifting that left waistline. Good. I'm just going to go a couple more like that. Pelvis is quiet. Beautiful. Last one. And regroup. Beautiful. Let's come back up to sitting tall now. Sit facing the wall by your feet. Let's position the two sliders again 1 inch apart. We're sitting with our knees bent, arms out in front of you. Gorgeous. We're going to get as much as we can to a nice seated tall position. From your hips, I'd like you to hinge back with maybe lots of, well, definitely with lots of length through the crown head, but maybe hinge back maybe 1 inch only. Curl your tailbone under as if you had gear wheels outside of your hips, spinning to the wall behind you. Notice how when you do that, it draws your pubic bone so it's shining to the ceiling. Yet your sternum stays shining to the wall by your feet. Come back up nice, tall, and vertical as best as you can. Don't go up so tall that you feel grippage in your hip flexor. If you're not totally on your sit bones, that's okay. Again, we're going to find length occurring through the crown of the head as you hinge back 1.0 inches. Go only halfway back. Think of those gear wheels outside of your hips, turning towards the wall behind you. Right, so this movement comes from the base of the spine. I'm going to have you keep moving at your own pace. This is what I wouldn't want to see. Notice this generic leaning back of my shoulders backwards and forwards. There's not a lot of articulating going on down here. So that's why we want to think of curling that tailbone slightly under and up, yet your chest stays square to the wall by your feet. Gorgeous. We're going to layer on from there. You've got this. Hinge back. Exhale. Find that small flexion. We're going to hold it here. Stretch both legs long this time. Notice how your abs have to work to stabilize that C curve in your lumbar spine. Exhale, we draw belly button in and up. That is what's going to reel the legs back to where they came from. Again, back line of the legs lengthen as we stretch those legs long. Exhale, belly button pulls in and up towards the center of your two shoulder blades. Very nice. Inhaling again. Elongating the back of the legs as we stretch the legs. Exhale, navel pulls in. Check in with your shoulder girdle. Make sure your collarbones are wide. Shoulder blades are dropped away from your neck and ears. And shoulders are also flat on the back of the rib basket. Looking wonderful. Keep that same 1.5 to 2.0 inches of space between the feet and the legs the same. We're going to do one more. Yes. Inhale, stretching long. I love how this feels. Exhale, compressing the abdomen to cue the knees to bend again. Come all the way up. Good work. Let's go ahead, build upon that. Pull out, roll up. We're going to grab one slider. Not sliding with it, but just to help us find that mid-back connection. Hold on. Two fingertips. Two sets of fingertips holding outside of the slider. We're going to build a little bit greater articulation through the spine. So we hinge back maybe 2.5 to 3 inches now. We're curling back again. As you're curling back, I want your feet to reach actively for the wall by your feet, and that will help you resist gravity on the way down. Head lands last. Beautiful. Keep a sense of pulling the slider apart, okay? So you're not gonna see my slider break, but you're gonna feel, or I'm definitely doing it, I'm pulling the slider apart. That cues my mid back to engage. As I take the arms by my head, I'm careful not to let my rib basket flare out. Okay, so let's do that together. We have our arms reaching to the ceiling. There's some softness in the elbows. Think of pulling the slider apart, okay? And as you're taking the arms by your ears, keep continuing to pull the slider apart so you feel that connection of your shoulders to your mid-back. Bring the arms back to the ceiling, float your hair off the floor by 1 centimeter, and build upon that. The more you pull that slider apart, the more deep we go into the abdominals, coming back to a sitting tall position. Again, it's like a Ritz cracker. You're trying to pull it apart, hinge back 2.0 inches. Gear wheels outside the hips, spin to the wall behind you. Again, as you're doing that, the soles of the feet are reaching actively to that wall. Arms are in a fixed position initially. Head lands softly. Take those arms overhead, still pulling the slider apart as best as we can. Ribs stay stitched to the abdominal wall. Bring the arms. So you can feel that movement of the arms coming from the mid-back. Lift the hair off the floor, 3/4 of an inch. Up we roll. Sitting nice and tall, we're going to layer into some scrape the barrel here. Hinging back, curl the tailbone under, find that nice C curve, find lots of length on the front side of the body. I'm going to change my vantage point so you see a little different perspective. We're going into what we call scrape the barrel. So if you think about the front side of your body, we're the base of a wine barrel. You are skimming that base, making this big round circular movement here. Excellent. Beautiful here. I'm going to turn back around this way. And go ahead, reverse direction, other way. Keep the sternum shining to the wall straight ahead, as opposed to shining to the ceiling. Just a couple more like that. And come all the way up to nice and tall. Wonderful job. Well, let's get that forearm sideline exercise done for the other side. So now the slider goes under your left leg. You've got your right forearm and elbow on the floor, actively reaching your right rib basket. We're doing the other side now, away from the floor. Good. We'll keep our left hand on our top hip. And then remember that image of the burlap sack underneath your bottom right hip. Let that float you up. Find that stability. Find a pocket of airspace inside this right supporting shoulder joint. And we're going to keep that pelvis and lower back very quiet. Sweeping that left leg and slider forward. Beneath our hips. Keep that active lift of the right waistline away. Take that leg behind you. Very nice. So after a couple reps, it's natural to want to collapse down. I need you to keep that active lift. Keep the outer right thigh, in fact, also lifting away from the floor. You can layer on that mobility inside the dome of the left pelvis so that you're going into a little turnout with that left leg and foot as you sweep the leg forward. Find parallel and find some internal rotation with that left leg and foot as it goes slightly behind you. Back to parallel as it goes under you. And then find turnout as you sweep that leg in front of you. Woo, I love it. This is a full body experience. Very nice. Left arm can go up for a little cardio experience as well. Let's go for a couple more. We're coming up to standing in one more rep. And bring it softly down. Wonderful job. Let's bring it up to standing. Great. So we're going to get a nice lunge sequence in. So what we'd like to do is stand facing this wall by our feet. Good. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see me a little better inside the frame. Good. And then we're going to take a moment, have our legs and feet together. Left ball of the foot is on
the slider. I want you to just take a natural step back with that left foot so that you have that left heel lifted. The front right foot is flat on the floor. You might want to do this off the mat, obviously, for better engagement. So we're not just doing a simple bend the knee and tilt forward. That may be part of it, but what we want to initiate this movement from is the idea that our top of the inner thighs actually scissor open. Keep your torso upright, pubic bone and sternum as much as possible on the same plane. About 75% of the weight on that front right foot, 25% of the weight on that back foot. Use your inner thighs to draw that slider back to your right foot, coming back to where we started. So again, shoulders stay floating over pelvis. We scissor the upper inner thighs to go back. We scissor close the upper inner thighs to come forward. I'm going to show you what it's like to make this movement a foot dominant exercise, something we're not looking to do. So this is me kind of dropping into the movement, and then this is me using my feet, my back foot especially, to come back to standing. So possibly you're not able to see a visual difference. I bet you can though. This is me working really distally. Now I'm going to go back to the way we like to do it. So I'm moving from the top of my inner thighs, scissoring those inner thighs open, keeping weight across the entire sole of the right foot. And then as I'm here, I'm not so low that I'm forced to go into an interior tilt. I now want to use my inner upper thighs to bring that slider back. Let's layer on some arms now that we understand it. You're going to sweep those arms up and then lengthen those arms down. The arms, I'm going to change my profile for you. Sweep up like a letter V. We don't want to crowd those shoulders up. And those arms lengthen down, still actively working the upper inner thigh. So this should be quite the inner thigh experience as the reps go on. Not so long, you should feel those inner thighs. Beautiful. It is not about how far you can move that left foot back, okay? Your left foot might not move back more than a foot and a half. What's more important is we keep that neutral pelvis and lower back. Excellent. We have some changes coming up. Beautiful. So let's hold the next one here. Arms are up. Keep the arms up and just hinge the torso forward. Discover a long diagonal from your left heel to the crown of the head. And then you're coming right back up. So what's moving is our pelvis is moving on top of the stable right femur head. We're mobilizing the dome of the right pelvis on top of the stable right femur head. So we're going into a nice long diagonal, and then we're finding this upright position. Notice whether you're hinging forward or coming upright, you have relatively a neutral lumbar spine, nothing too lordotic there. Good, let's go ahead and hold this next one. Stay. Soft bend of the left knee. We're upright with our torso. We draw that left foot next to the right. Most of the weight's on the right foot. We extend that left leg. Beautiful, guys. Exhale, compress the abdomen. Navel pulls in and up. And then extend that left leg, keeping your pelvis and lower back neutral. Excellent. So this is kind of reminiscent of the exercise known as reverse carriage pull on our machine, where we're combining chair and carriage. Beautiful, guys. You want to feel those low abs. Yes, that right leg is working. We're going to go for 3 more. There's one more change. I want you to stay with me, guys. I'm going to change my vantage point. You keep moving at your end. Excellent. Looking for one more like that. Hold it. We have both knees bent. Peel your right supporting heel a 1/4 inch up. Not a big heel lift. Now from these hip joints, we're going down 1/4 inch. We go up. We're going to try not to effort through the knees or the feet, really. You can place a little more weight, even Steven, on both feet. That's going to fire up your inner thighs. We're here for 6. And change this way so you can see me better. You keep moving at your own pace. We're here for 5. Notice the knees angle doesn't really change. For 3, hands can go on the hips if you prefer. For 2, lower that right heel, extend everything. Good work. I know that's a lot going at you at once. Let's get back down on our stomach and build upon that extension exercise.
we did earlier. So now we have swan dive. We have our legs nice and wide and turn out. We're also going to open our arms out like the letter T. Beautiful. And now we're going to go for a nice fluid movement. We take the arms towards the wall by your feet. Then we go into a little bigger extension as you slide those sliders towards your waist. Go down with intention and length. Open the arms to a nice letter T. And repeat. We're going to go into that nice outstretched position, pulling up into some nice extension. Neck is still long, a continuation of the rest of the spine. Excellent. Layering on, you're going to bring your hands in, give me a little push up, go back down, extend the arms out to a T, sweep them forward into that swan dive, drawing those sliders into your waist. So it's a little movement pattern. Arms go out like a letter T. We bring the hands in into a nice push-up position. Shin bones stay on the ground. Just extend those arms. Go down as one piece. Stretch the arms nice and long. One more time. Arms sweep towards the wall by your head. Engage your lats, serratus, lower trapezius. To draw straight arms towards your waist. Abs supporting the lower back, of course. Out to a nice outstretched position. We take our arms out to a letter T. Pull the arms into a nice chest press position. Without moving the sliders, do one more push-up. Bring it back down. Amazing. Last time, we're going to a child's pose. Just stretch that out. Amazing, and let's get that lunge done for the other side. So we're coming back up to standing. Good. So this time, we've got the slider under our right foot. We're going to line up our 2 feet together. Beautiful. Let me move some things so you get a better viewpoint. Great. Hands on your hips initially. We're going to take a natural step back with our right foot. We're going to do a natural slide back. Nothing too big that we're forced to overarch like I'm doing right now in the lower back. Since most of the weight is on your top supporting or your front supporting left foot. Great. From here, again, it's all about the upper inner thighs. We're scissoring open the inner thighs to go down. You'll notice my left knee goes slightly forward of my ankle, of my left ankle crease. It's in line with big toe, second toe. And 98, or I should say 80% of the weight's on that left foot. Now to come back up to standing, I want to use my 2 inner thighs to scissor the thigh bones closed, and that brings you back up to where we started. So this is quite the inner thigh experience. And when it's the inner thighs working, that's a precursor to your low abs and pelvic floor getting heavily involved. So we really want to stay living in our core here. The breathing is exhale to go down or to scissor the thighs open. Inhale to scissor close the inner thighs. Now I'm going to go again, have you keep moving. Keep your eye line up nice and high once you're done looking at me in the screen. But if you feel like still looking at me in the screen, I'm going to show you how not to do it again, just to kind of refresh your memories. This is me really just moving, dumping into the lunge, and then this is me efforting with my feet to come up. So it's quite the distal initiation, okay? Not a lot of activation going on in my inner thighs right now. A lot of work in my feet and toes, and now I'm going to pause, take that off the slate. Now I'm going to go back to working from my center. Exhale to go down. Inhale. And here's an added challenge as you keep moving. Think of your right toe cushions are very, very light on that slider. Maybe even as light as an eyelash. So all 4 corners of that left foot in front are really absorbed into the floor. Excellent, you guys. It's not about how far back that right foot and slider can go. It's more about how well you're able to keep the pelvis and the torso neutral, with your pubic bone and sternum staying on the same plane. Very nice. Let's go for a couple more like that. Shoulders stay floating over the hips. If you recall, I got the same 2 changes, 2.5 changes that we did on the first side. We're going to hold this one here. So the left leg's going to stay bent. It's going to stay quiet. We're going to move the dome of our left pelvis so that we can hinge forward and feel lots of stretch and length from that right back heel out through the crown of your head. And then we're going to come back upright. Nice. So you'll notice the left knee, the left leg doesn't change, it doesn't move. Even the back right leg is staying quiet and stable. So what's moving then? I'm going to turn while you do some more. I'm going to turn so you get a better vantage point. This ball socket joint of the hip, that's what we're really mobilizing here. The dome of the left pelvis is moving swimmingly atop of that stable left femur head, both as you lean forward and as you come back upright. All right? So you're going to feel lots of hip functionality going on in that supporting left hip in the front. Let's keep going. Have a couple more. Keep in mind, we're looking for the collarbone to stay wide, shoulders to stay flat on the back of the ribs, all four corners of your left foot absorbing into the floor beneath you. Good, let's go one more time. Stretching through the crown of the head as you hinge forward. Staying low as you come up. Stay low here. Again, still keeping the weight on that left foot. Let's engage our low abdomen to cue your right knee to bend, drawing the slider forward, lining up your 2 feet. And then right here is what we activate to stretch that right leg back. Exhaling to summon the right knee to bend, sharp as a boomerang. Extend the back line of the right leg to go out. Now, do your best not to crunch in your low back, or do what I'm doing right now, which is going into an interior tilt. Most especially as that leg is going back. Okay, try to put a little more weight on that left front foot if you feel like you're going into your lumbar spine like that. Good, excellent. Yes, your left leg is on fire. I get that. But can you feel those low abs working too? Especially as your right knee and thigh line up to your left. Gorgeous. We have that one little tiny change coming up with just a couple reps. Exhale to draw the right knee forward. Woo, I like this one a lot. Shoulders staying floating over the hips. Gorgeous. Let's bring it right back. Hold it right here. Now, our shoulders over our hips. Is it possible to realign the pubic bone and sternum just a little bit more? We're welcome to now share the weight on both feet the same, but let's keep the slider quiet. From your upper inner left thigh, invite that left heel up just a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch off the floor. Excellent. And then let's go ahead and go down with our hips up. We're moving from those hip joints. Very nice, everyone. Excellent. Shoulders stay floating over the hips. Try not to change or alter the angle of your knee as you go up or down. So we're not doing this. That's me doing too much knee work. We're moving from here. We're here for 4. For 3. Nice and tiny, guys. 2. And 1. Lower the heels, come all the way up. Awesome job. I know there's a lot to think about, but boy, when done right, you really feel the gold all around here. All right, let's get going down onto our all fours, hands and knees. And we're going to go into knee stretches. Similar to what we do on the WundaFormer carriage. We want to place the balls of the feet on top of the sliders. Discover first, we've got a nice 4-point heel with a neutral spine. Excellent. From your low abs, we're floating the knees up as high as our ankles. Not up so high like this. You want to find your shins are parallel to the floor. Knees are in line with the ankles. Inhale, stretch both legs nice and long. Together, simultaneously. Exhale, bend both knees. Pause when your knees are under the hips. Repeating that, we're inhaling to stretch out, stretching the whole back line of the body. Exhale, engage those abs again to sweep the knees underneath the hips. Now, throughout this movement, try to keep the weight equal on the hands and feet the same. Good. Check in. Your heart is lifted up between your shoulder blades. You're not hyper-locking those elbows. Very nice. And when you're straightening those legs, friends, try to stretch your heels from the crown of the head far away from one another. Beautiful. Exhale as your knees bend. Inhale as you extend. Let's go for 2 more, then we stretch, guys. Tailbones long as you bring those knees underneath you. We got 1 more to go. Stretching nice and long. Bring it back in. Awesome job. Let's take a little time to stretch here, okay? We go ahead and just lie down on our left side. Find yourself with your right shoulder stacked over your left. Legs are bent like a small case letter H. Arms are in front of you, just like a seal at the zoo. If you have something on your head, or just leave it. Just want to feel yourself decompressing into the floor. Take your right arm up to the sky for me. Exhale as you rotate. I've got a machine in my leg, but I'll make do. Look at that. Look towards the wall behind you without forcing any rotation. We don't want to over twist our neck. This is all about decompressing. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through pursed lips. Ah, yes. Inhale, bring your right fingertips back up towards the ceiling. Wrap the right root basket around to bring the hands back together again. We'll do that one more time. Right arm goes up. Exhale. Look towards your right hand. Try your best to keep that right hip stacked over your left. Breathe out any tension not serving you. We take our right fingertips back up to the sky. We wrap it all the way together. Let's come to all fours before we do the other side. So we're going to come to our hands and knees. Fantastic. Good. And with your hands on your shoulders, knees under your hips, feet gently pointed, round your spine into a nice cat stretch. Exhaling. Inhaling, find neutral, move through neutral into extension. On your next exhale, move through neutral into flexion. Tailbone and crown of the head drifting together as the round back reaches to the ceiling. As you move through neutral into extension, tailbone and crown of the head reach away from each other. And then find that nice neutral position. Go ahead, lie on your right side this time. Lining up, hips on top of hips, shoulders on shoulders. Head is resting gently. We sweep the left fingertips up to the sky. We're going to rotate, look towards your left hand. Ah, feels good. Should feel good. Again, don't force anything. I'm not trying to torque or trying to get this hand to touch the floor necessarily. Good. In fact, if your left hand is actually touching the floor, chances are your left hip is not as nicely stacked on the right hip as we would like. So let's keep that in mind. Take your left fingertips up to the sky. Wrap the left rib basket around to bring those hands back together again. We'll do the same thing one more time. Inhale to reach left fingertips up. Exhale, open and broaden your shoulders to the ceiling. Gorgeous. Stay here. Inhaling, sipping air softly through the nostrils. Exhale any tension and out through pursed lips. Inhale, bring the fingertips back up. Wrap the left rib basket around again. And voila. All right, you guys, thank you. That was a lot of fun. That's a pretty intense slider experience. And I hope to see you again soon.